Okay, adding decimals. Hi boys and girls, this is Miss Richardson and we're going to learn how to add decimals. On the board here you see 3 and 5/10 plus 4 and 72 hundredths. How in the world are we going to put those together? Well, did you know that if you know how to add whole numbers, like 1 plus 3 is 4, then you can totally add decimals as well. So let's look at this. First off, we are in horizontal form, so the numbers are written horizontally. But we've discussed earlier that to add, even subtract, but we're talking about adding, it is easier if we line them up vertically. So first I'm going to rewrite my problem vertically. So we have 3 and 5/10 plus 4 and 72 hundredths. Now wait a second. These are lined up a little funny. Usually we always line everything up to the right. Well, in this case, we are now dealing with decimals. And that's why we're having this lesson, to figure out how do we add decimals. Well, with the decimal, numbers with decimals have these decimal places in them. So the very first thing you want to make sure that you do when you're adding decimals is line the decimals up. Okay, so we're just going to make a little spot for all of our decimals. And they're all going to be in one line. We'll go ahead and bring our decimal down. Okay, and well, of course, the ones place comes over here as well as in your second number. And then we have our decimal, and our next place value is what? The tenths place. Remember, we've worked on this. The tenths place. And underneath there is also the tenths place. And then what's next? The hundredths. Well, there's no hundredths here, so what can we put? What could hold the place of a hundredths? Since we do have a number in the hundredths here, a good placeholder would be a 0. Because it has no value, but it's still a digit we can put here to hold our place. Because if we put a 1 or a 5 or a 7, well, that would change the value, and we'd have to add it. But here, when we add 0 to something, it keeps that same number. Okay, so now that we are all lined up, we've got our 3 and 5/10 and plus 4 and 72 hundredths all in a line. We're going to add like we usually do. So we're going to start from the right. 0 plus 2 is, that's right, 2. 5 plus 7 is, did you say 12? I hope so. We're keeping our 2 and carrying our 1. Now we won't carry it to the decimal spot because, that's just for decimals. There's no numbers there. That'd be silly. So we're going to carry it over to our ones place. So I like to do 3 plus 4 is 7. And then don't forget to add your 1. So there's 8. And since we already brought our decimal place down earlier, we don't have to worry about it. But that gives our answer as 8 and 22 hundredths. Wasn't that easy? So easy. Easy enough, I bet you can do one yourself. So let's give it a try. How about you add 4 and 39 hundredths plus, I'm going to write it this way to see if you can line it up properly, plus 5 and 2/10. Do you think you can do that? I want you to pause it and see if you can work this out. Okay, so I just moved our problem over here. But remember, the first thing you have to do, you don't have to, but the first thing you should do is write our numbers, our addition problem vertically. Because remember, I wrote it out horizontally. So how are we going to write this vertically? We'll start with the 4 and 39 hundredths. We're adding, so we'll get that addition sign out here. 5 and 2/10. Well, my decimal's here, so I'm just going to go ahead and make my decimal area. So here's my decimal. The 5 is in front of it, and the 2 is right after it. So my decimals are lined up, so that should mean that my numbers are lined up. Got the ones in the ones place, the tenths in the tenths place, and the hundredths in the hundredths place. Remember, what did we say we could do for a placeholder? That's right, we can put a 0 here to help hold that place because it has no value. So now that we have them lined up, you should have started adding. So 9 plus 0, that's right, 9. And then there's no carryover, so 3 plus 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Keep your decimal. Oh, we got to bring down that decimal. And then 4 plus 5 is, I hope you said 9. So your answer for this added problem is 9 and 59 hundredths. So simple. All right, I wonder how we'll apply this in class tomorrow. You want one more just to try? Okay, I'll leave you with one more. I want you to try 5 and 32 hundredths plus 7 and 6 tenths. Remember your steps. How should you write it first? And what has to be lined up? All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow.